Pier Paolo Pasolini's 1975 Salo, or The 120 Days of Sodom, is a cinematic interpretation of the Marquis de Sade's book of the same name. It describes, as Wikipedia so succinctly states, the activities of four wealthy libertine Frenchmen who spend 4 months seeking the ultimate sexual gratification through orgies, sealing themselves in an inaccessible castle in the heart of the Black Forest with 12 accomplices, 20 designated victims, and 10 servants. 4 aging prostitutes relate stories of their most memorable clients whose sexual practices involved 600 passions, including coprophilia, necrophilia, bestiality, incest, rape, and child sexual abuse. Pasolini takes this source material and applies it to 4 elites still, but these men now are stowed away in an isolated Italian country estate and exercising complete power over helpless local boys and girls in the waning years of World War II. Now, I've been wanting to watch this film for a while now, which maybe says something about me considering my last video on this channel was a Serbian film, but I swear I'm like relatively normal and not a freak. A man must have his inhibitions. It sounds very scary, but whatever. Anyways, I watched it with my friend who had also not seen it. Shocker. And I recall at least a dozen moments throughout its runtime where we both just slowly turned towards one another, often in complete and utter disgust at the insanity occurring on screen. It's interesting because Salo, to me, is a contradiction. It contrasts these beautiful shots of bourgeois Italian interior design with depraved acts of torture and grotesquerie. Classical strings and profound piano keys ring out while helpless adolescents are forced to comply with the most outlandish sexual fantasies their captors can imagine. It, on the one hand, exhibits these heinous acts to us vividly and uncompromisingly, yet all the same it critiques the system which allowed for such twisted perversions to materialize in the first place. At multiple points throughout the film, I found myself entranced by its composition or the meditated movement of Pasolini's camera, only to be often immediately barraged with a visual assault involving, but certainly not limited to, an uncomfortably long rape in front of an intrigued crowd of onlookers, or the vivid relaying of a woman's violent sexual past dating back to the age of 9, all while she smiles and the elites grow ever more aroused. I don't know, at a certain point it almost feels redundant. You hear one of the narrators, essentially older women who were former prostitutes that relay their past sexual experiences so as to inspire fresh ideas for the elites, talk about how one of her former clients literally got off on eating her shit. And it's like, okay, well, I wonder what they're gonna make these poor souls do next. Definitely not that. The movie's runtime is a shade under 2 hours, but it feels significantly longer. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this. But it almost feels like Pasolini, to an extent, hid his own personal pleasures behind this somewhat thin veil of fascism is bad, which is kind of like, yeah, no shit. But that's certainly an oversimplification. In an interview conducted during the filming of Salo by fellow filmmaker Gideon Bachman, Pasolini readily admits that he cannot hide the fact that the purely sensual aspect of the sadistic orgies attracts him. And yet, simultaneously, the film also holds some peculiar significance for him, as he describes in his youth fleeing Bologna for a small fascist satellite village, a time wherein his brother was also shot by the Nazis. I'm completely sure that the horrors Pasolini lived through during this era of brutal authoritarianism in Italy offered more than some inspiration for the hell he depicts on screen in Salo. Maybe it's his way of coping with these horrors, or maybe he simply wanted to show them in such an extreme fashion so as to make a point about the sinful evils permitted and exercised under the constructs of totalitarianism. Admittedly, I didn't love this movie, which isn't crazy to say, but I also understand why Pasolini felt the urge to tell this story. I admire his commitment to never shying away from exposing the pure terror exacted by all-powerful individuals when placed in a societal structure that grants them absolute control. No doubt he had his fair share of first-hand encounters with that corruption and subsequent fear. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't think you're really meant to like this movie. It's supposed to enrage you, to disgust and disappoint you, to make you look away or towards your brave viewing compatriot and shake your head in silence. When the movie finally ended, abruptly at that, we sat there for a moment, staring at the barren credits and then the final black frame. Rarely have I felt such an analogous bleakness, not so much a loss for words as an understanding that none can or will suffice. Well, at least until now, considering I am providing you with a number of words about the movie. Whatever, shut up. Next time I think we'll just watch Family Guy.